Weich, who is in Las Vegas and has been covering this since yesterday and now on site. Steve, I mean, what have you learned about the team and the organization being there at the facility today, listening to all of this and all of the fallout from Jon Gruden?
It's just so much. I mean, like you talked about, the layers. What you see is innocent bystanders who are now somewhat collateral damage because the new coaches, the old coaches, the players, they had nothing to do with what really has transpired here. That was to their former head coach, Jon Gruden. And now, as David said, the conflict was very apparent. Players and coaches who really loved this man, who respected him, but also found out a truth about him, which is so abhorrent to most of them. Now, the day here started with a team meeting with owner Mark Davis, general manager Mike Mayock, and new interim coach Rich Bisaccia, in that order, speaking to, but most importantly, listening to the players on this team. Mayock said they heard a lot of different opinions. Some players are were very angry. Other players are like, okay, let's bond together and let's move on. But altogether, there was kind of a unified, let's go ahead and get this done. And they also took practice together, minus one key player. Defensive lineman Carl Nassib, the only openly gay player in the NFL, asked Mayock if he could have a personal day off to process everything that is going on. Mayock said they had 3 conversations over the past 2 days, and of course Nassib was granted that day off, Mayock said, because they want to support him. Remember, in Gruden's emails, there's a lot of homophobic language that was used, which clearly could have upset Nassib for a lot of different ways, to which Darren Waller said, I can't even imagine what he's going through. He needs all the time he should get to go ahead and process whatever he has to process. Now, we mentioned Rich Bisaccia, the interim coach, taking over. He's the one who expressed his love and friendship with Gruden the most. Gruden was the one who brought him into the NFL in 2002. And Max Crosby said, the defensive lineman, that when Bisaccia was named interim coach, that was a highlight because he's been the most influential man on his football life. Bisaccia is known as someone who is a player's coach, someone who's very invested. And a prime example of this, guys, is when Bisaccia took the field, he opened practice with the punters and the kickers. He remained that special teams coordinator. There was no ego there. And he came out later and said, my style of coaching is when I coach and grade players, their jersey numbers. But when I talk to them, they're human beings. That's how it's been. That's how it will continue to be as they try to rally to get things going Sunday. But, David, I want to get back to you because you talked about all the things that that your brother, Derek, has to go through. He also reminded us that, including interim coaches, this is his 5th head coach in 8 seasons. I mean, what about all of that turnover for various circumstances? None bigger than what he said. This is the biggest story in sports right now.
Yeah, Steve, that's the hard part is, he's going to have to rely on all of that experience because he doesn't have Jon in the building to kind of guide him through. And regardless of what has happened with Jon off the field in the emails, he was brilliant as far as X's and O's go. So that's going to be a big void that Greg Olsen, who's been with Derek for a long time, and Derek is going to have to rely on his experience through all those coaches, through all the plays that he has running through his head. He's going to have to lean on that to be able to push this team forward. And I think that he's excited about that opportunity. He really is. I think that he's ready for this. Maybe 2-3 years ago, this would have been something that would have been a lot more difficult for him to handle. But just the fact that this offense, even though Gruden is not there, that offensive system is going to be exactly the same as it was. Right. Greg Olsen and Derak Carr, that stuff, as Derek said, I don't need Jon on the field to be able to run this offense because it's ingrained in me at this point. So it's going to maybe even look a little bit different too. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to see.
That's the key. And I see major change because Greg Olsen is not Jon Gruden. When you're a play caller and one of the best play callers, you have a feel, you see momentum, you're watching guys, you're looking at certain things, and that feel for the game can only come with that certain coach. Now, the other thing is when you have what Derek really wants to do and what Jon Gruden was trying to do and getting them on the same page, that almost took 3 years.
Right.
Yeah.
That almost took 3 years for them to get in sync together. So Greg Olsen coming in, yes, he's familiar, but they're not on the same page. So in my mind, and this is a question I know you know, really it's Derek's show right now to lead the charge and say, this is what I like, this is what I want to do. And we're going to see a different offense. This offense is going to be a little bit different.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that there is a feeling, with watching Derek my whole life and knowing him, And whatever their game plan is on Sunday, it's going to be. I haven't asked him. I don't want to know. Because if I know, I'll probably tell you guys, right? So, but what I feel
fair.
like he wants to do is push the ball vertically. He wants to challenge defenses. That's what he's always wanted to do. And Greg Olsen is the same way.
Yeah.
So we'll see what this offense looks like. You know, they're going to challenge defenses with their speed, with their guys. You know, they're still going to run the football.
I was going to say, they got a good running back. Don't forget, Jake. Don't forget.
So we don't know what it's going to look like, but I do know that Derak is a very aggressive thrower of the football, and Jon Gruden valued completions.
Gotcha.
So there was a little bit of a headbutt, especially when they first started out.
Yeah.
That exact point. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, they're going into Mile High, facing the Broncos' second-ranked total defense. Steve Weish, thanks. Locker room. Raider Nation, his teammates looking to him now probably more than ever before.
Yeah, and what you can hear in Waller's voice, Mayock, Derak, is conflict. And that's what they're feeling. They're feeling a little bit betrayed by someone that they loved. And you heard Derak say that Jon was there every day with them. Derak and Jon had a great relationship, a working relationship, where Jon gave him confidence and the ability to go out on the field and play excellent football. And Derak loved that about him. On the other side, as you heard Derak mention, he hates the sin. He hates the fact that Jon said the things that he said, the fact that he is who he didn't know. He's the guy that he didn't know. That's what Derak revealed to me when I talked to him on the phone Monday night, and that's what was breaking him up, is he is so anti everything that Jon said in those emails, but he yet loves the guy.
Right.
So that's where you find the conflict that they're dealing with, and, oh, by the way, trying to go lead a football team, and trying to win a football game on Sunday against a good Broncos team. So that's where you get him in the same press conference saying, but we have to go to work, because that inside of him is he knows what his job is. Jon's not there to help him with that. Jon is now at home. He's not there. It's on Derak. It's on Greg Olsen. It's on Rich. It's on Gus Bradley and those players to rally the troops and go play football.
And it's hard to put all that in perspective and then move on.
Yep.
And when you spend so much time with somebody and you think you know who they are and they've been a certain way with you and interact with you, and then you hear all these things, depending on where you come from and what you've been through, you can feel some type of way. And so the confusion that goes along with the conflict is understandable. Now, what they have to do is understand he's not in the building anymore. And whatever they decide to do to help him and move forward and help what he's done is fine. But inside the building, you got to focus, you got to move forward and try to figure out what's the next step, how we put it together, and how we come together as a team. This should bring this Raider team and Raider Nation and organization together.